All right. Oh, dear God. All right. Hello. Happy Screenshot Saturday. Totally not recording this at 5:50 p.m. I had a lot to do today, but we're recording this now with a brand new little update to my devlog on how this building game is going. It is still not named. I still don't have a name for it, but in any case, first of all, very first little note is that I may or may not have completely changed the UI. Instead of there just being the buttons and then it changes between the buttons and it just alternates, you now have this neat little tab system up here that makes everything a little bit, just a tad bit lovelier. I'm setting up the ability to save custom objects and put them in these little question mark boxes. As of now, you still only have the 4 options, but that is a thing that is going to happen. And the paint fill is still exactly the same, only little difference being you can now save your paints. And you can now save them right here, and if you click them, if you click the boxes, or even like the non-empty boxes like this one, I can save this as purple, and then I can save this as green. But if you right click it, it changes to the color that it is, and it still works exactly the same, but I'll show that off later because that goes into another feature that I included. And the texture mode as well, you can also now save it as well and then reset it, and then supposedly you could save it again, but I haven't been able to get that part working. There's a little bug where it treats them both like the same thing, so if I right click here, I won't be able to like draw anything on here, but if I reset this and then I click here, you'll notice that it's basically drawing on the same thing. I think that has something to do with how I save the texture, because I did it in a very similar way as to how I did the paint fill code, and that doesn't exactly work. So everything else still works just fine. This is my next little thing. And then you have actual selection indicator. So if you go to 1 and you have your cubes and you place your cubes here, it'll now actually let you know by this little neat little shader effect which one you're selecting. It only really works at certain angles. I think that has something to do. I'll put the shader on the screen. All right, fun little addendum, because I don't feel like I explained the shader situation well enough. So this is how I am getting that shader effect that I am showing this section of the video. Basically, I'm getting the center screen. I'm basically using this screen position node, and I have it on the center, and I have also the position of the view, not the object, the view. I'm guessing this is the view of the person, view of the camera, view of the player, that sort of thing. And these are both going into a dot product. And then this is being multiplied by the Z buffer of the camera. And then I take this multiplier and then I add it with a tiny little float of like 0.15 is where I put it. I'm gonna go into this a little bit later. This kind of does relate into the masking with the Fresnel effect, but keeping this at a tiny number and keeping this one here at a larger number helps with the accuracy of the mouse position. If I have these numbers closer, it tends to do the situation where it kind of like stretches. It kind of stretches out from the center to where the mouse is. So this being a tinier number basically just keeps that from happening. And then now we get into the color mask. This here is how you determine the range. And that's it. The color mask here, what goes into the color mask is this branch. Basically, previously I had this whole thing not a simple circle, but a noise, but like a really fuzzy, noisy circle. But I thought that maybe people with like a lower, people whose computers weren't like high end or couldn't run that high end of games might have a few problems with like a noise thing. So I have this at a branch of basically being able to turn it on and off. If it's on, it's like this, but if it's off, it's just like a regular old circle. And then the mask color is determined by this Fresnel effect with a float of a larger number. If I play around with the numbers, I might be able to actually like fix the angle, and I will give a short little update on my Twitter if that does end up happening. But as of now, I'm just gonna kind of sandwich these together, because as you can see here, it's already like 6:05. So I kind of want to get this out before Saturday ends, basically. So then, after the color mask, we get into like, well, one of these is a multiplication between this color mask and an inverse color of whatever color the material is, which causes this little like blue effect right here, since when it multiplies with the black, it would just be black, and then when it multiplies with the white, it would turn into whatever color that is, because this is all zeros and this is all ones. And the other thing is taking that, doing an inverse of that, and multiplying it by the actual material color. So one of them is the material color being inverted, the other one is the color mask color being inverted. And then these are both added together and put into a branch that when you mouse over it, this is activated, and if it's not moused over, it's just a regular like material color that is then multiplied with the sample texture to create the base color. Back to the main video. Every object has a thing on their code that says, hey, flip this boolean in the shader graph if you are mousing, if the player has entered, if their mouse has entered the area of their box collider, and then disable it when the player exits. So that flicking of the boolean is only like checked or flicked or stuff once. It's only when they enter, and it's only when they leave. You're still able to move it around as normal. The only thing is that there was a third bug. And this was a pretty funny bug, where the collider was behaving very weirdly with the ground and the spheres and everything like that. So when I would go have it intersect the ground like so, it would basically, I'm just gonna play the clip. I'm just gonna play the clip right here. All right, we're good. Yeah, you can see how that's a little bit incorrect. So what I had to do was basically whenever you're moving the cube around, whenever you have the cube selected and you're moving it around, the collider of the cube is disabled. Nonetheless, that was just another little thing that came up that I thought was funny. And also, this isn't auto like default set to black either. If I go into, not press caps lock, press tab, and I go into paint fill and select one of my preset colors, and I click it, it's actually the inversion. So yeah, that's the cool little updates I have. I'm very excited for this game. A few other things I want to do with like the main functions, and then the rest of it is just it's kind of just fixing small bugs in sort of situations, like the weird angles that happen that make it so you can't tell when something's being selected, or with the issue with the texture, other stuff like that. But I am very excited to just be getting on with the actual content of the game, which is very cool. So, I hope you like this little devlog update, and I I don't have a webcam open, so I cannot say goodbye properly, so goodbye.